We'd really like to say thank you to everyone for coming. Some of you have travelled miles from Norway, no least. You know, the effort is amazing. So we really, really appreciate to have everybody here celebrating our day with us today. It really makes, we honestly couldn't be happier. Secondly, this is loads of thanks by the way, so bear with me. Thank you to Mum and Dad, firstly for those lovely words, but I mean, more than that, I'm so grateful for all the love and support we've had over the last few years. Particularly, really, your kind hearts, your generosity and support have helped us in so many ways, not least that you've helped us to create our kind of dream life, our forever home here in Swanage, and we couldn't feel more fortunate that you've helped us to do that, so thank you so much. Thank you for all the hard work you put in today. It really wouldn't have happened without you, particularly you, Mum. And I know from countless Christmases, family dues, that really you perform best at a higher level of stress. And I have really tried my hardest to raise those stress levels. For months on end, I've been poking the bear just to make sure Mum is on the teetering edge, so that she's performing at the optimum performance, not just a hat rack. I'm sure everyone will agree that not only does the place look amazing, the day's running on rails, and it really is appreciated. And I speak for both Ben and I when we say we're having the absolute best day. So thank you so much. Thank you all to all the other helpers that have been roped in along the way. Your contribution today makes us feel so special, and it speaks to the support and the love that we are lucky to be surrounded by literally every day of our lives. So thank you so much to everybody that's helped out making today what it is. And specifically, thank you for Susan and George, my godparents. Where are you? Over there somewhere. Your endless generosity in both time and little jobs, including me making Ben's ring and him making mine, little stuff like that. Not just in the run-up to today, but in our entire time in Swanage, your presence has made us feel so welcome, so thank you so much. Ben Clark, where is he? Thank you so much for creating such a meaningful and lovely ceremony for us. I mean, it means such a lot for us to be able to make our vows in the presence of someone we absolutely adore from the bottom of our hearts. So thank you, Ben. Sam, there she is. Thank you, Sam. She described her bit as an artistic piece. But thank you so much for the fact that we both Ben and I, we didn't even talk about it, we just decided independently and then eventually arrived at the decision that Sam had to speak at some point today. And I think that says so much about the special place that you hold in my heart, so thank you, Sam. Tom, the best man. Thank you for creating the best stag do I could imagine for, but also, and more importantly, being the best twin. I could have asked for. I think in wedding speeches, traditionally people refer to their new spouse as their best friend. But I'm sure Ben won't mind me saying, there's a special place in my heart that you'll occupy, that I always enjoy. So. Okay. Very seriously now, don't drink too much because there's a good chance I might need some of your liver. thank you for wrangling the crowd. Matt the caterer. Matt the caterer did say we really ought to have an organised gobshite to make sure we stay on track. And I knew just the man for this. The fact that I was actually going to try and find him a megaphone from the lifeboat. I was going to try and borrow one, but he bought one and I was going to deliver it to the house. I knew I picked the right one. And the last thanks is from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to Ben's parents, Sally and Chris, and to Charlotte for honestly shaping the best man you could possibly imagine. And obviously, same goes to my family, friends, siblings, whatever, for shaping the man I turned out to be. I think I'm great. I am so fortunate to be close with all my siblings, your lovely partners. I'm an uncle to some gorgeous nieces and nephews, and with that in mind, there are some notable absences. Dad mentioned a few, but there's some family and friends on both sides of the house, living, not with us, who couldn't make it for ill health and whatever else. So, a toast really to absent friends.
Right. Don't want your pepper out, you can throw Prosecco on it. It's fine.
Right, so it brings me on to talk about my lovely husband. I hope everyone's got a napkin nearby. Brace yourself, brace yourself. Ben and I met in Portsmouth when I was training as a navigator, and Ben was at university. We had a fairly intense start to our relationship with a deployment of unknown duration and location looming. We spent about 8 weeks, I'd say, getting to know each other. And the final few days before I set off for the Middle East, we drifted into some reasonably big discussions that we otherwise might not have had, I guess, if we were forced into it by the fact that I'm leaving. We talked about marriage, kids, our visions of the future, our visions of making our house a home, and all the things you kind of would want out of life. And needless to say, that was probably over a bottle of wine or two. But it wasn't scary or overly intense at the time. I could see it then as it's happening now. The overwhelming feeling was of excitement. And it's quite hard to put into words what draws two people together. And I said in my vows, one of the things I love about Ben is the joy you find in the littlest things. I think I've become a bit of an optimist. I think over the years I've become a bit of an optimist. And I've learned from Ben how to really appreciate every bit of life that I'm fortunate to have. So, to illustrate, I'll give you a little story. I have a really vivid memory of one of our first dates, and we walked through that really shitty part of Portsmouth you lived. It was absolutely pissing it down, and you could argue it was a terrible time to stop and stare at and appreciate stuff. But not then. He stopped in his tracks with a face of absolute wonder, and like you all know, and went, wow. And he was looking directly ahead at a really, really shitty block of flats. I must admit, I was completely stumped. I just didn't get it at all. And then he look how pretty the lights are. And sure enough, taking a moment, the floor was so wet, like just absolute mill pond, and you could see all the lights from the windows from the shitty block of flats reflected in the floor, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I just fell in love with you that little bit more. It was a moment. And I'll admit, that is one of the more abstract examples, but it says a lot about who you are. and how you approach life. So your consciousness when it comes to the environment, your impact on it, and the wide-eyed excitement that you have when you see a new bird or butterfly in the garden or something, it fills my heart to the brim. It goes beyond that though. You take care in all your interactions with friends, passing strangers, people you've only just met, or there's so many people that you've had an impact on through your work at the shed. Like, it's so important. You should be so proud of the things you've achieved doing that. Most of you will have shared in this infectious personality. In fact, some of you would have known him by the pseudonym Ben the Ranger. Before you even met him. Quite famous. In fact, for a time it almost made sense to take the Ranger as a second name. Those of you that follow Ben on his socials would have noticed that he's turned away from wildlife and now blogs what we would probably say something more akin to the slowest episode of Changing Rooms you've ever but we are just waiting for Ben and Abby to invite us around to decorate one of their bedrooms. We've got some colours in mind, just saying. Anyway, I think there's a toast here, and it's to Ben the Ranger. Long may he range. And so I'm timing it now. So to the future. When we first went up to visit Northumberland nearly 8 years ago, there was a conversation that happened about relationships. Something that I'm going to hold it together, I promise. Something your mum said to Ben was, I'm always excited for spending time with John, my dad. Always have been, always will be. And on the way home, we were chatting about our visit at home, and Ben said to me, I don't think Mum realised how aspirational that was. It really is. But I have to admit, I'm excited now, as I was back in those very early days, for what might come next on our journey. I've talked about Ben and the effect he's had on me so far, and should we have kids or whatever comes next, I cannot wait to see the people they will become with Ben as their dad. And so a toast, final toast. To the future.
Ben's got a few words to say. Some things never change.
Sorry, there's a lot of